Why did Jimin's mother meet Jungkook in secret? What was discussed behind closed doors that made Jungkook lose control? Your comments can change everything. Like if you were surprised, and comment your opinion below. Is this proof that there is a conflict within BTS that has been hidden? Is it possible that a secret meeting between a mother and her son's best friend could shake the emotional foundations of a world idol? And more importantly, why did this meeting go unnoticed by Jimin himself? This news first sounded vague. Some fans mentioned that they saw a middle-aged woman come to a private studio where Jungkook often practiced in silence. At first, there was nothing to connect it with Jimin's mother. However, day by day, this riddle becomes too conspicuous to ignore. It all started with one photo. A blurry image that went viral on South Korean social media showed a woman wearing a dark blue coat, getting out of a black car without official plates, towards a small building that did not have any commercial signs. In front of the building, a person in a black hoodie greeted him and opened the entrance. The figure, having been compared with the previous candid portrait of Jungkook, bears an undeniable resemblance. But strangely, the agency remains silent. There is no clarification. There is no objection. A few days later, fans noticed something unusual from Jungkook. In the middle of his live broadcast, Jungkook was silent for a long time. His face was blank, his gaze drifting. Even his usually warm and cheerful comments turned cold. Sometimes, it's not the haters who hurt. It's the people you don't expect. This sentence immediately sparked widespread speculation. Who was meant? Then came one name that resonated among the speculations, Jimin's mother. But why? And more importantly, what did he say to Jungkook during that secret meeting? One of the studio staff who did not want to be named finally opened his voice. He admitted that the meeting lasted for about an hour, and after that Jungkook seemed like a lost man. I don't know what the woman said, but Jungkook came out with red eyes. He sat alone in the studio for almost 2 hours afterwards, not talking to anyone. What was so shocking that Jungkook, who is known to be mentally strong, was completely devastated emotionally. One other clue came from CCTV footage around the building. Despite not showing a voice, the expressions of both were very clear. Jimin's mother looked calm but firm. His hands occasionally pointed towards Jungkook, while Jungkook could be seen nodding slowly and looking down several times. But in the last seconds of the footage, something deeper than just a debate is seen. Jungkook stands up, covers his face with both hands, and finally bows deeply to Jimin's mother. Before the woman leaves without turning her head in the slightest. Is this an apology? Or is it the other way around, a phrase from Jungkook who feels he has been betrayed by someone he didn't expect? Some fans speculated that this had something to do with Jimin's sudden decision to delete some of his old photos with Jungkook on the group's official account. This was previously considered a normal cleaning, but now it feels like a small clue that has been ignored. Meanwhile, Taehyung, who has been known to be close to both of them, also muddied the atmosphere. In his live broadcast, when asked about Jungkook and Jimin's friendship, he simply replied, "There are things that cannot be conveyed in words." Sometimes, time explains. Does this statement hint that there really is something big going on behind the scenes? Another internal source mentioned that Jimin's mother actually didn't like certain decisions Jungkook had made lately, especially regarding overseas collaboration projects that reportedly involve agencies that Jimin does not approve of. It is possible that Jimin's mother felt that Jungkook carried a negative influence on her son's professional choices. If that's the case, why didn't Jim do it? Why did the mother personally intervene? All this speculation intensified when Jungkook suddenly wrote a short message on the official platform. All is not as it seems. I'm only human. Simple sentence, but carries an incredible emotional weight. Many fans took this as a signal that he was under heavy pressure, not just professionally, but personally. A few days after the incident, Jungkook was absent from the joint training schedule. There is no official explanation from the HYB side. But the interesting thing is, on the same day, Jimin appeared on a television show and had tears when asked about the definition of true friends. Does Jimin know what happened? Or did he just learn from someone else? One thing that confused fans even more was the fact that Jimin's mother had never been directly involved in media affairs before. He is known to be secretive and never gives comments about Jimin's career, let alone about the other members. So, the decision to meet Jungkook secretly was definitely not a spontaneous act. There's a big meaning behind it. Question after question kept coming. What did Jimin's mother actually say to Jungkook? Did you get a message from Jim? Do you want to talk to Jungkook about something? Or did he just say something that made Jungkook feel like he had hurt his own best friend without realizing it? As time went on, this mystery grew darker and more complex. One fan even compiled a chronology of the entire incident, from Jungkook's behavior change to Jimin's cryptic posts, to Taehyung's brief live that felt like it was keeping a hidden message. Everything leads to one sad conclusion. Something broke, and maybe it can no longer be repaired. And just as the issue reached its peak, a senior choreographer who has worked with BTS on several comeback projects gave a surprising statement in a radio interview. She says, "Sometimes friendships in large groups like this don't just depend on the members. There's family, management, and a long history that comes into play." The speech was delivered anonymously, but the context was too obvious to ignore. The fans are now divided. Some defended Jungkook, calling him a victim of outside pressure that shouldn't have happened, while others feel that Jimin deserves the support of his family, especially if it is true that something has made him feel uncomfortable for a long time. But one thing is undeniable. The meeting between Jimin's mother and Jungkook was not just a personal interaction. It was a trigger, a catalyst for conflict that has been neatly hidden behind cameras, stage smiles, and seemingly peaceful social media posts. Today, the public awaits clarification, but it looks like they won't be getting it anytime soon. HYB has not yet given any statements. Jungkook has not reappeared in public. Jimin chose to remain silent. And behind all this silence, only one question continues to resonate. What really happened in that room? And why after that, Jungkook looks like someone who just lost everything? Even more shocking, however, was when a 2-minute voice recording was said to have come from one of the security staff at the meeting site. In the recording, a female voice can be heard in a stern tone saying a sentence that gives the listener goosebumps. "You don't know what Jim has been through. You think this is just about you? You don't think he's hurt? You think he's been quiet all this time because he's weak?" No name was mentioned in the sound piece, but fans swear that it was Jimin's mother's voice. And if it is true, then all perceptions of who has been considered strong and who has been hurt must be changed. After the tape spread, the atmosphere was even more tense. Jungkook suddenly deleted more than 30 of his old posts on his personal social media, including memorable photos with Jimin. No excuses. No words. Only digital silence leaves big questions. Some fans burst into tears in the comments, pleading for the two to reconcile. But others call it a sign of the end of an era, that something can no longer be fixed, no matter how strong the ties once were. Anger also began to appear, but not all was directed at Jungkook or Jimin. Many fans began to question Jimin's mother's decision. Is it appropriate for a mother to be so involved in her child's professional and personal relationships? Is it building or is it destroying? In online forums, the debate is heated. Some refer to her as a protector, a mother figure who dares to speak up when her child is hurt. But not a few also accused him of crossing the line, interfering in Jimin and Jungkook's personal affairs that should have been resolved by themselves as adults. But things get even more complicated when an unofficial statement comes from a former HYBE trainee who is now living abroad. He said he had seen the dynamic between Jimin and Jungkook change drastically since the overseas project involving Jungkook last year. According to him, Jimin felt excluded from creative decisions and felt abandoned. This recognition created a new storm. Because if it's true that Jimin feels marginalized, and if it's true that Jungkook hasn't realized that all this time, then the main question is no longer who is wrong, but who is not sensitive enough to realize that someone closest to him is heartbroken and silenced. Jimin's silence also clouded the atmosphere. He made no clarifications, did not reply to comments, did not even show signs that he was trying to calm the public. In a brief interview with Japanese media a few days ago, Jimin answered only one question with a sentence that made everyone stop breathing. "I just hope the people I care about don't think that my silence means agreeing." The sentence made the public wonder, was his silence all this time a form of protest? Or is the wound too deep for him to express in words? And while the world is busy peeling back the layers of this drama, Jungkook has nevertheless disappeared from all public schedules. One of the freelance photographers who used to follow BTS activities at the airport said that he saw Jungkook suddenly cancel his departure to LA just an hour before boarding. He reportedly got into the car and did not return. Some say that he now prefers to stay temporarily at his family home in Busan, away from the spotlight, away from the noise. What exactly was the conversation between Jimin's mother and Jungkook? Is that a warning? Reprimand? Or is it a final decision that their closeness can no longer continue? Many have speculated that Jimin's mother carried a personal message from Jimin, a message that may have been too difficult or too painful to convey directly. But if it's true, why isn't Jimin talking to himself? What made them decide that communication should be through a mother? The most painful thing for many fans was the change in Jungkook's aura. In the new recordings, even if he is visible, his eyes no longer shine as usual. There was no spirit in his words. One fan even wrote that Jungkook's smile now feels like a mask. The sentence went viral, shared more than 200,000 times in just 2 days. It shows how strong the emotional impact of this event has been on fans who have seen Jungkook as an almost unwavering figure. We will never fully know what happened behind closed doors between Jimin's mother and Jungkook. But one thing is certain. The encounter has shaken the world of both of them, and perhaps also changed the course of a friendship that had been considered inseparable. Jungkook, in all his silence, had signaled that his heart was not all right. Jimin, with all his words and actions, seemed to be processing a wound that had not yet fully healed, and all of us, spectators, fans, lovers, observers, can only watch from behind a glass screen, wondering, guessing, and hoping that whatever really happens, both will find a way to heal. But for now, it all feels too quiet. Unusual silence. A silence that signifies that something big has just collapsed. But all of that is nothing compared to what happened a week later. An 18-second video that circulated on the closed forum of the Korean entertainment industry community. The video shows a concert waiting room with hidden surveillance cameras. In the blurry footage, two very recognizable figures are seen. Jungkook is sitting with his head down, while in front of him stands a middle-aged woman who looks very emotional. Although the video does not feature audio, their expressions are enough to describe the unbearable tension. The woman pointed at Jungkook while speaking fast and loud, and Jungkook could be seen repeatedly nodding without replying in the slightest, holding only his left chest as if he were holding his breath. People began to ask in a sharper tone, is Jimin's mother just raising concerns, or an ultimatum? Did he ask Jungkook to stay away from Jimin? Did he reveal something that only Jimin and his family knew? The secret that made Jungkook melt in an instant? Theories began to appear. From plausible to extreme conspiracy point, one of the most astounding theories came from a former freelance choreographer who had worked with them during an Asian tour. In an uncensored podcast broadcast, he mentioned that not everyone in the members' families liked the professional decisions made by Jungkook. There are even those who say that Jungkook controls too many things behind the scenes. When the host asked further, the source simply replied, "Some people feel that if it wasn't for Jungkook, Jimin would be in a different place now." That sentence lit a fire. Angry comments flooded the internet. What does different places mean? What is the meaning of Jimin's solo career that has been less highlighted lately? Or is it just his personal life that feels too overshadowed by the figure of Jungkook? Not stopping there, speculation grew wild when social media accounts belonging to Jimin's large fanbase uploaded a thread explaining the dynamics of toxic attachment in relationships between idol group members. Without naming names, the writing seems to describe someone who is too controlling, jealous, and hinders the development of his own best friend for fear of being abandoned. The thread was immediately attributed to Jungkook by thousands of followers, although there is no concrete evidence yet. Then came even hotter news, a screenshot of a leaked group conversation on one of the private Discord servers. In the arrest, the alleged employee of the agency wrote, "If the mother had not come, the child would have continued to believe she was his true friend." Though, the cut of the sentence came to a standstill, but it was enough to shake. The public is sure that this is not nonsense. There is something that has been hidden very neatly by all parties. And just after the leak went viral, HYB finally took a strange step. They removed the entire promotional video featuring Jimin and Jungkook together in a single frame from the official channel. Without reason, without explanation. It just disappeared. This action even reinforces the suspicion that this conflict is not just a momentary misunderstanding. This is a deep wound that is trying to be covered with a fake smile in front of the camera. What exactly did Jimin's mother bring to the meeting? Letters? Proof? Or just an old wound that has never been treated? Many assume that the meeting was not a purely personal initiative, but perhaps part of the family's decision to put an end to something that had been left hanging for too long. Whether it's a professional relationship, emotional, or both. Is this a stern warning? A final frontier drawn by parents to the relationship of two young people who have grown too close amid the world's spotlight. Even more surprising was when a well-known psychologist who often analyzes the gestures of public figures took part in commenting on the CCTV footage. In an interview, he mentioned that Jimin's mother's hand gestures and Jungkook's expression show a pattern of unequal relationships. There is a unilaterally enforced power dynamic, and Jungkook looks deeply cornered emotionally. Not like two adults discussing, but like someone is being judged. This statement provoked a sharp reaction. Some people defended Jimin's mother, saying that she only wanted to protect her son. But most judged that this is already past the normal limits of family intervention. Every day, comments on social media go from empathy to anger, from support to accusation. Fans are starting to take a stand. Hashtag Protect Jungkook is trending in some Asian countries. While on the other hand, hashtag Justice for Jimin is also trending strongly on Twitter. The fandom world is divided, and in that emotional meltdown, one anonymous post in the online community made it all the more confusing. The user claimed to be a close family friend of Jimin, and said that Jimin's mother once said that Jimin will never be able to heal himself while he is still in Jungkook's shadow. This post immediately went viral, and many believe that the meeting was the climax of a long, growing concern that the bond that once saved them is now destroying each other. Jungkook still hasn't appeared in front of the camera. Jimin remained tight-lipped, appearing only occasionally in overly formal professional appearances, without his usual emotional luster. HYBE remained silent, and the public can only wait, guess, and hope. Although some are beginning to lose hope, that the two hearts that once strengthened each other are now connected only by memories, no longer by trust.